Welcome back to Final Fantasy XIV. We are here in Gridania in front of Imitra, and that means, of course, let's continue the Summoner questline. Into Stormblood. A book with bite. Imitra has the most fascinating use for you. Serenia, I've had the most fascinating use. It would seem that the ruins of ancient Alak have yielded us a tome containing unknown secrets of the summoner's art. The tome in question is currently being kept under Rembrose's watchful gaze at our dig in Mordona. I'll be heading there shortly myself, but I would not begrudge you an earlier peek. Mordona and... good old Rembrose? Oh, I thought you might be alone. Here, Serenia, a prize such as this should be in your keeping. We uncovered it not terribly far from where we excavated the Evoker's attire. I've judged the tome to be some manner of manual for summoning magic, but alas I was unable to decipher the writings. 'Tis fortunate then that such a task falls directly within Ymitra's field of expertise. Speaking of which, would you mind taking the book to her yourself? She sent word that she had been held up by some dreary business in Revenant's stall. Pray do be careful. Okay, and back to town. The town here, right? I wonder. I doubt it, but... this character here, that has the gift of the Archmagus, is technically an ancient Allagan sorcerer. An ancient Allagan Archmagus. Or rather, his soul in a young woman's body. And apparently nobody is bothered by that. My apologies, a trifling but unavoidable matter prevented me from making directly for the dig site. Now, shall we take a closer look at this Allagan tome? Oh my, 'tis rather more shabby than what I've come to expect from the great works of Alak, but let's not be discouraged, the content is what truly matters. A fine observation. Principia, at your service. I'm a humbly familiar with the doctrine of summoning. Ah, a book with bite. Have we awoken a sentient tome from some ancient library? Senor, we must keep it contained. Have I somehow given offense? Strange, for I'm not equipped with offensive capabilities. Imparting the art of summoning is my function, and functional manual is my form. A manual, you say? Correct. When open in the presence of summoners, I'm bound to awaken and share with them the secrets of summoning. The young mistress there is in possession of an active soul crystal, yes? It was a soul crystal that awoke you? Correct. Only one who carries a soul crystal and has bathed in the ether of an icon may wield the power of a summoner. I sensed one worthy of instruction and was thus compelled to introduce myself. Icon. That is the Allagan word for primal. Excuse me, I need to clarify the obvious. But you are a construct created to teach summoning magics to any potential student you encounter? Why would the ancients have deemed such a thing necessary? The summoning came into being for the purpose of eliminating beings, specifically those known as icons, primals. Once these entities have been vanquished, however, a new Egi cannot be harnessed. Old summoners perish, and so too does their art. It was upon glimpsing this bleak future that a certain master summoner set about crafting yours truly. Inscribed with arts of tremendous power, I exist to teach others how to safeguard their existence. Fascinating. Your creation speaks to the heart of a discipline's rarity. Summoning harnesses the power of primates with the sole purpose of destroying them, and new summoners arise only in an age when primates are rife. With the absence of living mentors, a true succession of the art is never achieved. Principia, are you then to instruct Serenia in the lost secrets of Alak? I'm eager to oblige, but there are certain obligations. Ere the seal upon my higher knowledge can be unlocked, the student must first overcome the 3 challenges I'm ensorcelled to present. Well, considering how it refers to primates as icons, I'm inclined to believe that we have an authentic Alagan relic on our hands. What say you, Serenia? Will you undertake these challenges? I'm in. The first challenge is a test of power. This trial is designed to evaluate the raw magnitude of your arcane talent by pitting you against the predetermined opponent of carefully measured fortitude. Also known as I manifest a monster and you fight it. Mayhaps not terribly wise to attempt that in the middle of town. Why don't we find ourselves a less populated area out near the singing shards? Hop, 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 hop. Can this please become a minion later on? We will indeed fight. Shall we begin to the test of power, Mistress? Mistress? You treat your pupil as a superior, Principia? Such was the way in which I was written, and if my full name begins to tire your tongue, you're welcome to call me Prin or Pia. Oh, I rather like Prin. I mean, let us proceed with a challenge. I perhaps should have summoned my edgy before. Good. A crushing victory, Serenia. Who could argue the potential of modern summoning after that display? You have bested the first challenge, Mistress. There are few summoners in Alak's long history who boasted this degree of native might. Furthermore, that you have achieved such potency through naught but the study of ancient wisdom is simply astonishing. With a little polish to your technique, guiding you to loftier heights of power should be astonishingly simple. I thought Serenia's technique more than sufficiently polished, but you say there's room for improvement? I see. We shall have to adjust our yardstick for perfection if we are to rival practitioners of the past. Indeed. If you don't know more of past practices, then you need only ask. Actually, I do have a question for you, if you would indulge me, Serenia. Prin, in which age were you created? You appear to lack the technological advancement that were predominant in constructs in the later days of Alak's civilization. Another excellent observation. I was penned by Master Sari, a preeminent summoner of his time. He was in fact likely the last master summoner of the Alagan Empire's reign. Were I to date myself by your culture's notion of history, my creation would have taken place at a point just before the Empire's collapse. In other words, solidly within the richest era of epherochemical discovery. One might reasonably wonder why this wonderful science was excluded from my invention, and I assure you there is a reason. In the beginning, the Alagans rose to superiority through their mastery of magecraft. It is told that the very first wielders of summoning magic made do with grimoires fashioned of leather and ink and parchment. There came a tipping point, however, when the mundane science began to progress with ever-growing rapidity. These advances were married with the arcane, and epherochemical technology was born. Even as the harnessing of lightning energies gave rise to new recording mediums, technologies were developed that allowed complex arcane geometries to be instantly plotted. Traditional grimoires were replaced by devastatingly efficient and elegant weapons. The convenience of these tools, however, did not lend themselves well to the instruction of initiates. Beyond such considerations, the new mediums could not be perused without dedicated machinery, and their manufacture was no simple matter. And so the summoner who breathed life into you decided that tombstones and the like were not the ideal method for passing on his accumulated wisdom. Correct. He chose from me the primitive form of a book and inscribed within my pages a bounty of potent incantations that require no machine to be cast. Thank you, Prin. I thought only to satisfy my academic curiosity, but I found myself swept up in your description of a past. You truly are the creation of an incredible age. And thank you for your patience, Serenia. Shall we return to Gridania? Up, 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 up. Welcome home, mistress, or should that be welcome back? I'm told this is the base of your research efforts with Lady Mitra, but I'm unsure of a correct salutation. Well done, Serenia. We are one step closer to revealing a new secret of ancient Alak. Prin will issue the next challenge after you have the chance to review your studies and own your abilities to a new level of perfection. I've decided to keep the familiar here at my side for the moment. Even with as many wonders as Eorzea holds, folk tend to panic at the sight of a fanged tome that jumps around on its own accord. Oh, and pay no mind to Captain Wolf. He obviously wishes to secure my services for some task or another, but we have more important matters to attend to. Are you certain? Serenia, you've been well, I trust. I'm trying to bend Ymitra's ear, but she seems a little distracted. Not that I can blame her. Have you seen this hopping book? I'm fairly sure I caught a flash of teeth in between those pages. Greetings, Serenia. It would seem that Prin would speak with us about the second challenge. Congratulations, mistress. You are sufficiently prepared to undertake the next test. Excuse me, Prin, but how can you tell? By analyzing the pattern of mistress's ethereal emanations, I can gauge the strength and precision of her recent cast incantations. Of course, mistress must attempt to challenge itself before I can provide an evaluation to the proper degree of accuracy. This will be a test of skill. To administer this trial under the prescribed conditions, however, I must request the assistance of several more summoners who play the role of antagonists. Several more summoners? In this day and age, that will be no easy feat to arrange. Come now, Ymitra. The solution is right under your nose. Serenia, your deeds have caught the attention of the highest echelons of the Flames. After learning what you're capable of, we have begun an initiative to take our very own summoners into battle against the primals. A number of soldiers under my command have already begun intensive training. I handpicked veteran survivors of our expedition against Ifrit, and they've been issued with soul crystals reclaimed from the Asians. Aye, Captain Wolf has been howling my ear for days, begging to enlist your aid as some kind of drill instructor for the ethereally gifted. But now that you're in need of summoners for this trial of the yes, I'm prepared to offer my regiment's full cooperation. All I ask in return is a few morsels of advice for the acolytes. It seems to me a fair trade, and my enchantment do not restrict me from instructing neophyte summoners in the fundamentals of the art. Very well. I suppose such an arrangement could prove convenient for us all. I knew you'd come around. Meet me at Camp Bluefrog and I assemble the troops for inspection. Your robes look very weird. Denise? Summoner needs at your service, miss. Everything is in readiness for the second challenge, mistress. These are the 3 near-fit summoners who will be assisting with the trial. I've heard elegant training can be rather remorseless. Do your best, but pray try not to injure them during the fray. Look like we're all here. Let's get on with the briefing, shall we? As you command, this second challenge will evaluate the elegance of your technique as opposed to the magnitude of your miasma. First, I shall infuse the edgy of your opponents with secondary enchantments, and then you are to engage the entities in combat. Quinn explained to me that the enchantments store the ether expended during the battle and allow for an in-depth analysis of your flair for death flares, as it were. In any case, I expect you to pass with flying colors. Right, I suppose you should know who you're up against. Designation and rank? Summoner Crispin, Private First Class. We are grateful for aught you can teach us, miss. Summoner Denise, Sergeant, I'm new to spellcasting, but I've seen my share of combat, miss. Crispin and I are to fight you as a pair. Summoner Yaya Samu, Lieutenant. You have more than few admirers in the barracks, Serenia, miss. But that don't mean we'll go easy on you. Enough chatter. Quick march to the training ground. Give a word to Crispin and Denise when you're ready to begin to battle the edgy Serenian. After that, you'll be facing off against the Lieutenant's beast. You won't be attacking my troops directly, so give it all you got. Prepare yourself, miss. Denise and I will now summon our servants to battle. Aye, a pair of Ifrit Edgy for you. Finished rubbing out from the embers then? Because even together, me mates Edgy don't hold a candle to the inferno I can summon. Right, let's bring the flames. Stupid, but okay. I had hopes for that one, but you snuffed him right out quite quick. Not much of a try, huh? Well then, you're lucky I fought another primal during me time with a company of heroes. Ah, you're not the only summoner as can command more than one inferior beastie. Say hello to your final opponent, Titan Edgy. Allow me some time to chew on the residue of your battles, mistress. Though from the taste alone I can predict a favorable flavor for the result. What? Ah, they're coming closer. I hope my summoners put up enough of a fight for you. Anyway, shall we hear what the book has to say? I have ruminated upon the swirls and echoes of your battle. The picture is clear. Your technique is, without a doubt, a thing of exquisite beauty. Consider the second challenge conquered. Well, that's good news, if hardly surprising. After all, you did sweep through Earth's edge like a storm through a field of dandelions. Many thanks. You have opened my eyes. I see I have some work to do before I can truly mastered this discipline. Glad to know we've been of service. Now we really must be returning to Gridania? Why so immediately? Thank you, miss. That was truly an enriching experience. I pray train with us again in the future. Okay, back to Gridania. Congratulations, Serenia. With your impressive demonstration of power and skill, you have already conquered 2 of Prince's 3 challenges. Ere you come to the final try, however, Prin would further your education on elegant summoning. First, I would ask what you know of the rise and fall of summoning in the Allagan Empire. I was made to cover rather a lot of history, you understand? From our research, we have learned that summoners were initially lauded as heroes for their success against the primals. When certain of these mages began to abuse the art's power for personal gain, however, the adoration of the populace shifted toward an oppressive hatred. Correct. We speak now of the latter half of the Third Astral Era. My creator, Master Sari, was one of those who expended his energies on the destruction of primals, even as he fled from relentless persecution. Alongside his disciples, he triumphed over Belias and many other lesser entities. Belias? That was the name of the elder primal from whom Tristan once drew power. Master Sari must have been mighty indeed to defeat such a foe. Yet he still knew fear. The thought that the grand discipline of summoning would fade into oblivion was more than Master Sari could bear, and so he sought to preserve its legacy and provide for his successors. My creator was well versed in the ferrochemistry and held a particular interest in the technology of information. Broadly speaking, he researched methods for producing arcane geometries without grimoires and experimented with machine-enhanced edgy. He eventually abandoned both of these technologies, deeming them unsuitable for the instruction of future generations. Hoping to provide guidance for those summoners yet unborn, he instead began writing and enhancing a work that would survive down the ages. He made me. Such an accomplished personage. Why then have I seen but scant mention of his name in Alak's histories? As you've said yourself, it was an age when the adulation of summoners experienced an extreme reversal. It is likely that Master Sari's achievements were struck from the records, even as his loyal pupils were struck down in the streets. I was shot in a straw book, abandoned to my slumber like some common treaties on trade agreements in the southern provinces, and thus I can tell you naught of what befell my creator in his later years. I expected a dry recital of the history of summoning, but you've shared with us your personal narrative. It is clear you hold a great deal of respect for Master Sari. I'm a familiar. I simply relay information as I was unspelled. This lecture is now over. As you wish, Prin. Well, Serenia, it would seem class is dismissed for the moment. I suggest you recuperate from the day's trials and look toward preparing yourself for the final challenge. An existential crisis. The time has come, Serenia. Prin is ready to administer the final trial. Yes, your third challenge is at hand, mistress. I shall be glad to at last share the wisdom that has long lain dormant within my pages. Thus far we have had elevations of raw power and refinement of skill. What then will be your third challenge seek to test? That I cannot tell you. Cannot or will not? I do not keep this detail from you for the sake of my own amusement. It must be secret. Were you aware of the test's purpose, such knowledge would unfairly affect its outcome. What I will tell you, however, is that this trial requires conditions that are akin to an actual battlefield. As such, I must ask that you call fellow summoners to your side and arrange a location where you might join hands against the most realistic primal threat. Well, this ought to be welcome news for Captain Wolf. I shall see if his acolytes are available. Greetings, this is Ymitra. Ymitra of the Sons of Saint Coinach. I have a favor to ask. Well, Captain Wolf was more than eager to accept our request. He even offered to arrange exclusive use of a section of steelwork. It seems there will be an airship waiting in Uldar to fly us to the island. Shall we wander out the landing once you've prepared them? This will be the final and most grueling challenge. Pray ready yourself, mistress, that you're not reduced to so much gruel. I don't know about you, Serenia, but my nerves are beginning to get the best of me. Captain Wolf and the others have already landed on Steel Rock, so let us not delay the challenge any further. Who could that be? Oh, how might I... Pardon? By whom? Lieutenant? Can you hear me? Blast. The call was cut off. Serenia, our immortal colleagues are under attack. The situation sounded dire indeed. All the summoners are crippled by injury and Captain Wolf alone fights to keep the foe at bay. Our planned battle has become rather more real than we anticipated. We'd best explain matters to the pilot and arrange a rescue party. The situation sounds grim, mistress. We should make for Steel Rock immediately. Ambushed, you say? Understood. I put in a call for reinforcement, but my ship is ready to depart now if you are. Shall we go in ahead? Follow me, Serenia. They should be over this way. I've located a survivor. Let's ensure his continued survival. What are those things? Are you alright? I live, I think. The others, we became separated. His wounds are not too serious. Come, Serenia, we mustn't tarry. Are these edgy? I've never seen their like. Sephiroth? Wait. I recognize them from Allagan times, but few could summon any. Attack zone compromised. Eradication. Such such odd vocalizations. I have no record of edgy speech. Well, I defeated Sephiroth before. Technically, I should be able to summon Volts as well. Unless I suck too much to do so. Another survivor located. Wounds appear grievous. We must tweak these at once. When can you apply pressure? We were completely overmatched. The captain, he drew them away. We should tend to his invis. Go with haste, mistress. Defeat the unknown summoner. Ah, the potential has arrived. Shall we test the limits of your power? This is what the art has become. More. Show me more. What is that pillar? It explodes. Okay. Can't avoid those flares. They seem to weaken at the center of a blast. Thanks for that knowledge. Who is this man? He's worse than the Asians. You exceed my expectations. Shall we try something new? This is a test. Whoa. Where are you coming from? Consummate skill. Expansive ethereal might. You're truly a fascinating specimen. My energies wane. This location was not ideal. Come on, I get you. Down. Anomalous potential confirmed. Commencing scan. Latent ethereal capacity immeasurable. Standard parameters exceeded. Reinitializing system. Oh. What? He wants to go another round? Master Sari? How have you come to be here? Master? Surely you don't mean that Sari. Ah, Principia. They have awoken you. This should suffice. What did you do to Prin? The construct is unharmed. I simply added another layer of security. Do not disappoint me, Summoner. I will be waiting. How odd. The way he vanished was almost as if he... Charles Steve, what was that all about? Ah, we discuss this back in Ulda after we've seen to the wounded. I felt Tal's hand on my shoulder for a moment there, but Miss Ymitra's magic brushed it back. Thank you for coming to our rescue. That bloke called up an army all by himself, and I'm pretty sure some of them went edgy. I didn't know that kind of thing was impossible. You arrived at the nick of time, Serenia. Thanks to you, my soldiers survived that ambush and they'll be fit for duty again after a bit of rest. Aye. You have our gratitude, and if you hadn't plunged into a fray like that, we almost certainly would have perished. Yeah, you said that bastard what Master Sari, didn't you? A summoner from ancient Alak? Did the mage have some way of coming back to life? Alright, Lieutenant, let's not jump to conclusions. Well, he was reading summoning magics unlike aught we've ever seen before. Maybe Prin has some idea? I'll be sure to ask. Come, Serenia, let us return to Gridania. But I think I just end this episode here. Next time we, or when we continue up to 70, we do this conversation, okay? Until then, I'm Mace and don't get lost.